Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another jam-packed episode of Silver Screen, the only show on CNBC Africa to delve into the business behind films and filmmaking. I'm your host, Robert Haynes, and with me is...
It's me, Ropiwa.
Yeah.
And first up tonight, we'll be traveling back down to the 38th International Durban Film Festival and the Durban Film Mart, and we'll be chatting to the acting German ambassador, Klaus Streicher, as well as Petra Epperlein, who's a director of Karl Marx City at the Elangeni Hotel. It's time to hit the beach again.
The Southern Sun Elangeni and Maharani Hotel boasts 734 rooms, all with sea views, 15 different meeting venues with capacity of up to 500, 6 different restaurants, bars and lounges, 3 heated swimming pools, a boutique spa, hair salon, and 2 fitness centers. It's the ideal vacation or business vacation stopover, and in this case, the ideal venue for the Durban film market and to house DIF delegates. With the festival, the hotel was at 100% capacity.
An embassy is a representation of its country, and as an ambassador, or more correct to be as an acting ambassador, I have to represent Germany, but I have also to see to the fostering, to the deepening of bilateral ties with the host country in all aspects, in political, in the economical, but as well and in the cultural field. I would say there are similarities with the view to the history of South Africa, because due to its history, South Africa is a very multicultural country, and it would be not good to deny that there has been, of course, important German immigration to South Africa. So Germany has a kind of, how should I say, footprint in South Africa. When it comes to trade or to companies' investments, yes, embassies have a supporting role, mostly on the political level. The base-to-base work is done by our trade offices, or especially by our Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Joburg, which is now already 65 years in South Africa. If you see the developments in the last 20, 30 years, I definitely would say Africa has developed, and there is a big potential. Eventually you could say, yes, some African countries could have done better, but like everywhere in the world, I mean, there are some reasons why that didn't happen. But yes, I would say there is a big potential, and more German companies are seeing that potential and are striving to increase their activities on the African continent. And South Africa, if I may add, is a perfect starting base, because many German companies, more than 600, are already invested here and use South Africa as a regional hub or continental hub for their business in Africa.
German Films is promoting German cinema worldwide. This is like a public institution, and the German government and the German producers are the people who ask us to represent German films all over the world. We have not been in South Africa for a long time. We had an event in maybe 2005, but this is a long time ago. And we felt it could be very interesting for the South African audience to get to know some German films which they would otherwise miss. And the Durban Film Festival is an excellent opportunity, of course, to reach out to the audience and show these films and filmmakers. German Films was established in 1954, a long time ago, by a producers organization, because they wanted their films to travel around the world. They invest in making films and producing films, and they thought it would be worthwhile that these films can be seen outside of Germany. In those days, I think it was merely Germany who was the first exploitation region for the films. Over the years, it has changed a little bit. There was because they had a pure economic point of view. They just wanted to earn money by selling them abroad. And since a couple of years, the German Ministry for Culture and the Media also give us money, and they have a much more cultural aspect. So our role has changed over the past years. It's not only about selling films, it's also about exchanging cultural elements and maybe presenting an image of Germany all over the world through film.
So Kalmark City is a mystery story about the Stasi, the former secret police in East Germany. Kalmark City is also the name of a place called Kalmark City where I grew up. The story is basically about the life in East Germany, my father's suicide, and trying to find out if he worked for the Stasi or not. So the Stasi collected tons of information, all the citizens. When the wall came down, East German citizens occupied that archive, and that archive still exists today, and everyone has a right to access their files. So many people go in there and look for their files. So we went into this archive to look for information about my father and my family in generally, and also about information in East Germany. We were not aware that the Stasi didn't only compile files, but they produced films. They spied on people to make films, but they also produced films for themselves, like agitation, propaganda films. So we discovered that, and that was amazing. So the Stasi made films for themselves, trying to explain themselves to themselves, like certain processes, how to break into people's apartments and bug them, or how to secretly survey an apartment. But they also just surveyed people forever. And there's footage, like hours and hours and hours of footage of people just going about their business. And when you watch that, it's so creepy because, they are not aware. And it's, at the same time, it's also the ultimate documentary material because people were not aware that they were filmed. So it's a great document for the time, but of course, it also has many problems. Right after the wall came down, he received a series of anonymous letters, and he was accused of having worked for the Stasi. And he never did anything about it, and later he committed suicide, and then I was like, is there any truth about that? And I wanted to find out. And that's basically what the film is about. We tried to find out if there's a truth about that. Growing up in an authoritarian system, like where oppression was rampant and the Stasi basically was everywhere, you have a heightened awareness that privacy of information doesn't really truly exist, especially today. But my take is, we started making the film when the NSA scandal broke, right? And many people love to compare the NSA to the Stasi, which is not really the case because the NSA is still part of our democratic society, so we as citizens should be able to control what's going on with that institution. In East Germany, it was an oppressive communist state. You couldn't do anything against the Stasi. A great example is like if you are together with your friends, you can talk about everything today and nothing will happen to you. But back in the day, the Stasi would have arrested you. So that's a huge difference. But at the same time, I think people should be vigilant what they do with their information, especially on social media. So everyone has a choice to share information.
So guys, what did you have a look at this last weekend? I know you had some homework that I think for a change you actually gave yourselves. So what was it that you watched? Kia, let's start with you.
I got to watch the incredible Rabubi, aka Spider-Man.
The new one?
Yeah, Homecoming.
Okay, what was it like?
I think it was quite refreshing. I really enjoyed it. It probably wasn't
refreshing. A superhero movie that's refreshing.
Oh,
dude,
I loved it. Come on, I loved it. I think for the Spider-Man franchise, it did really well. I think the previous ones I found quite boring.
Yeah.
But even though I don't think it was I wasn't the target market. I think it was for a younger audience. But I think it was quite refreshing. It was really, really, great.
Rafi, you said you fell asleep.
I think
That doesn't
I got
bode well.
35 minutes in, and I tell you, I'm an absolute superhero fan.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know what it was, and I thought it would be even better because Tony Stark features quite significantly in the film, but didn't work for me.
Not for you.
Didn't
Well, I mean,
work for me.
I saw the trailer, and for me, the problem with it seemed to be is they were literally going for the youth market. When I say the youth market, I'm talking the 13 to 18
Exactly.
kind of market. It's
I think he's back in high school in that
yeah,
film.
and it's like even Spider-Man himself looks 15, you know, and I'm like, no, come on, guys.
No, that's the thing. It's so what they've done is they've taken the story back to Spider-Man in high school, and he's now coming back after the aliens came in, messed the whole planet up, and now the Avengers have to try and clean up. So what we're looking at is Spider-Man in high school trying to join the Avengers and help them clean up the Earth.
We sort of go back in time to relive the Civil War splash panel fight from Peter's perspective. And we see him having the time of his life. He's on a private jet with Happy, and he's staying in this crazy hotel room, to suddenly him being crammed on a subway, late for school. No one's called him to let him know that there's another mission going on. And it's nice to see that contrast from the kid at summer camp to suddenly the kid back at school.
Basically saying I'm running a business here. I'm running a business that is based on me hanging on to my business, but also in a lot of ways he's fighting corruption. He does corrupt things in order to fight what he sees as corruption, and I think he has a pretty strong argument to some degree.
This take on Spider-Man is more of the story of how Peter Parker deals with what he's going through. I definitely think like boys of our age and younger are really going to connect with Peter, because everyone goes through that stage of being late for school, not doing your homework, asking the girl to the dance. And then we also get to see a kid live the dream that every kid has dreamed of since they were a child, you know? Being a superhero is the #1 dream, which often isn't the case with superheroes. Often being a superhero is a burden. But right now, for Peter, it is the best thing that could possibly have happened to him.
Okay, so Rafi, let's start with you. Out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 6.
A
and
6.
I only give it a 6 because of Tony Stark. It's a crush that I have.
Okay, fair enough. And you?
I'd give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Sure.
I also really enjoyed Michael Keaton as a villain. Excellent.
Which villain? Which villain did he?
He played the Vulture in the
Vulture.
movie. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't. I think the only ones I know of is the previous villains. I don't know of the Vulture. Is that a newer villain in the series of comics? Or?
Yeah, he's been in the comics, so I think it's also another one where they're introducing the newer villain into the comics. So it's quite well written, and he's excellent.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Spider-Man: Homecoming gets an 8 from Kia and a 6 from Rofiwa. So clearly it's one to go and watch. What else did you guys have a look at?
I know you're going to judge me, Robert.
I probably am, but tell me anyway.
I watched King Arthur and I loved it. There, I said it.
King Arthur.
I loved it. I did. It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a storyline that's pretty predictable. Like a lot of the scenes you can predict where they're going. But I think it was very good. It's a well-told story, and I think the actors are very good. So the legend of King Arthur essentially is the king is betrayed by his brother. The king has a son who has to avenge his father's death at the hand of his brother, his evil brother. So there's that conflict that we see throughout the film and that triumph in the end. And it's actually quite nice because at one point in the movie you think the evil brother's going to win, and he actually doesn't. So I think that was...
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. Sorry.
She keeps doing it, Kia.
Yeah.
She hasn't quite mastered the art of not giving away spoilers to films
I love
yet.
spoilers, I won't lie. Before you even asked me, I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
I went back in time and I watched 3+ hours of Apocalypse Now.
The director's cut, in other words.
Yes. Yeah, awesome time.
Every time I think I'm gonna wake up back in the jungle. When I was home after my first tour, it was worse. I'd wake up and there'd be nothing.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
This war, things get confused out there.
Don't look at the camera, just go by like you're fighting.
Power, ideals, the old morality, and practical military necessity. Because there's a conflict in every human heart between the rational and the irrational, between good and evil. Every man has got a breaking point. For he has reached his.
I watched a snail crawl along the edge of a straight razor. That's my dream. It's my nightmare.
are made with extreme prejudice.
You understand, Captain, this mission does not exist.
The thing I felt the most, much stronger than fear, was the desire to confront him.
Are you an assassin?
I'm a soldier.
You're neither. You're an errand boy, sent by grocery clerks.
Do you know what it is about movies from the 70s? They are timeless in terms of their execution. They do not date.
The cinematography on that.
All of it.
It was like paradise, but you felt like you were in the war, but you could appreciate the paradise, you know, it was...
And the beauty of films shot and made in the 70s is the fact that it's pre-CG. So everything you're seeing on screen is actually happening. The stunts are real, the explosions are real, the helicopters are real, etc., etc. So that's where the art of filmmaking lies, in my opinion.
I've got it on my laptop, so perhaps I should spare
No, you cannot watch Apocalypse Now on your laptop. You need to see Apocalypse Now on the biggest possible screen you can see it on.
Technology, we can plug it into our TV now, right? So that's what I'll be doing there.
I'm thinking an HD projector rather than your TV. So Kia, obviously it's an easy one, but what would you rate Apocalypse Now out of 10?
I don't think I'm worthy of rating it, but it is. It's a 10.
It's a 10. I think we concur with regards to that.
Well, it's time now to take a quick look at the local box office numbers from last weekend. Robert?
Local film Krotoa opened in 9th with a solid 458 grand off 25 screens. It does sound like an interesting concept. It's essentially about a people who've really been explored, and that's the Khoisan. It's set in 1652, and the film stars Crystal Donna Roberts in the title role and Armand Oukamp.
Eva Krotoa. My naam is Krotoa.
Sy sal jy nie teleurstel nie. Ook nie haar mense nie.
Ek sal jou 'n nuwe naam moet gee. Ja. Nee.
Ons behandel hulle soos here en wat maak hulle? Hulle steel ons vee terug.
Dit raak al hoe moeiliker om met jou oom Harry te onderhandel. Jy moet help. Ek het 'n tolk nodig. Nie net iemand wat beide tale kan praat nie, maar iemand wat beide groepe van binne af ken.
Ons het iemand daar binne nodig wat ons oë en ore kan wees.
Ja, jy was terug.
Jy klink Hollands. Jy het Hollandse klere aan, maar jy eet seevye en weet van kooiposies. Ek ken niemand anders soos jy nie.
Dit ek skool wat aan die Krotoa kyk keisa.
Van Meerhof! Hoe durf jy?
Hy het niks gedoen wat ek het toegelaat het.
Sy het een van hulle geword. Hulle noem haar Eva.
Jy het jou mense bedrieg.
Jy het jouself en jou stam oneer.
Jy het my hier gelos. Alleen en ek was nog net 'n kind.
Jou mense het jou verwerp. Hoekom wil jy hulle beskerm?
Hulle is my bloed. Laat my uit! Ek het nie kom wat hier sit staan! Jy het my hele lewe verraai.
There's been some real movement at the top 3 pole positions at the box office this week, so we're going to focus our attention there.
So in third place, Dunkirk's troops marched their way to the 1.6 million rand mark for a solid cumulative total of 5.7 million rand, and that's just in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I must be honest, I'm still keen to have a look at this one, even though Chris, you guys weren't here for last week's show, Chris popped in from Forbes magazine to review Dunkirk. I asked him if he was there. because he was incredibly passionate. He was, but he was incredibly passionate about the film. But I mean, Christopher Nolan is he's such a great filmmaker. So even though Chris wasn't keen on Christopher Nolan's film, he gave it a 6 out of 10. I'm still really keen on seeing it.
The shots in the film where you see one of the actors in a Spitfire, just beyond them, another Spitfire.
That's the single coolest thing I've ever been involved in, is when you can look over and there is a Spitfire banking around next to you. We're flying over where it happened. I mean, ridiculous. It was absolutely insane.
There's really no way that you could create that in a computer.
That intimate physicality, that tiny cockpit.
He's on me!
To be in there for an hour or two, we really focused on that as being one of the most important aspects of the film. Putting the audience in that seat.
I'm on him.
Which is an extremely difficult thing to do.
You see these, amazing airplanes in beautiful natural light through the canopy of the Spitfire and the other plane in the sky, shot on IMAX entirely in camera. It's not something you've seen before.
And in second place, Baby Driver kicked off with a so-so start, just 2.3 million rand off 86 screens.
I'm looking at some of the country's finest thugs. And of course, young Mozart in a go-kart over there. People love great bank robbery stories. So let's give them something bold, shameless, and brazen as to talk about over their lattes. Baby Driver is about a group of sociopaths, psychopaths, nut jobs, and baby.
Baby is an exceptional getaway driver.
I used to listen to music all the time.
He had an accident when he was a kid. Still has a hum in the drum. Plays music to drown it out.
That's what makes him the best.
The entire movie moves to the sound of his soundtrack.
All of the bank robberies and all of the film is driven by the music.
You seen this kid move?
He's the best that Doc has ever seen.
He must be gifted.
In this group of ruthless criminals, you have this innocent kid.
He literally sits as far away from them as he can because he doesn't really want to be part of the group.
What are you listening to?
Music.
That's right. You tell him, baby. There's a lot of conflicted feelings in his relationships with what he does.
Baby is a worthy hero. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. One more job and I'm done.
One more job and we're straight. Doc and Baby end up having a relationship that's almost father-like.
You're the best in the business.
And I'm not doing this job without you. But he's a tough leader. He likes everyone to do their job and to shut the up.
Hey, watch your mouth.
So what's it gonna be? Behind the wheel or in a wheelchair?
I have to drive again. It's not what I want.
And what do you want?
To get out of here.
Are we in bed together now? With all this chaos going on, love rules him.
Time to make a big boy decision. Do we do this thing or not?
I have to end this.
South African audiences have never really embraced Edgar Wright's material, from Shaun of the Dead through to Hot Fuzz and World's End. His films have never really set our box office alight. Personally, I don't know why. It just seems that his style doesn't seem to connect with local audiences.
And in the top spot this week, it's a girls' trip with Regina Hall and Queen Latifah, which opened very well with just under 2.5 million rand, and that's all 59 screens for a very solid screen average of 40,000.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day of life. My heart is so full of joy for these women right here. Lord, please make sure that Lisa don't get an STD and that nobody has kidney failure, because we finna get messed up, and let me get pregnant by somebody rich. That's all I ask. Amen.
We haven't hung in 5 years. I miss you guys. We need a girls' trip.
That's my car.
Not anymore, baby.
What if I just whip out my titties, you know? Okay, a titty.
I'll take a titty for a bike ride.
You sure you want to get turned this weekend with your girls?
I say this out of love.
Preach, girl.
If you are going to come along with us, please refrain from saying things like preach or go girl or any other colloquialisms that you may have looked up on Urban Dictionary.
Girl, bye. That's my girl.
This weekend is about us.
We deserve this.
So let's go.
Yeah. Destiny said you gotta get up and get. I have to pee.
Look, the line is short over there. There's a long line in the bathroom here. Just go for it.
Stop taking that picture! How much did she drink?
Hell no. I've known about this for a few months now, but that's in the past. This picture was taken last night.
We need to talk.
There ain't nothing you need to say to her that you can't say in front of us. Take my stun gun. Just tag him in the balls.
Today is the last day that we will ever be this young.
I have not had this much fun in so long. Wait.
I got what you need right here. This is 200-year-old abstinence. If you drink too much of it, it's gonna have you hallucinate.
Do y'all feel funny? Feel me, y'all feel me.
You coming to get me, God?
You put something in them drinks, didn't you?
You know I got some bomb-ass kush if you want to take a hit.
Where did you hide?
Where the sun don't shine.
You know what? It can cause a lot of infection.
Girl, you can't get no infection in your booty hole. It's a booty hole.
Well, ladies and gents, I think that about wraps it up for tonight's show. Another jam-packed episode. Remember to email us, silverscreen@abn360.com. You can also tweet us using the hashtag silverscreen @CNBC Africa. From myself, Robert.
And myself, Rofiwa.
Yeah, baby.
It's ciao for now, and we'll see you at the movies.